Grassy Hill Road.
Okay. In which war did you serve? What war did you serve in?
World War II.
Okay. What was your branch of service?
Staff Sergeant.
Okay.
I left the U.S. as a staff sergeant, and I stayed two and a half years as a staff sergeant.
Okay.
I was discharged as a staff sergeant.
What branch did you serve with?
What?
What branch did you serve with?
I think it was probably unique because as the troops advanced, I advanced with them and restored the government of that particular area as we progressed. We went along with them and took over the governing.
Okay. You were with the Army, weren't you? Were you in the Army?
I was in the yeah.
Okay.
Part of an infantry regiment.
What were some of the general locations you served?
The location
That you served, yeah.
that I covered, I'm trying to think of the. We landed at Salerno, and we took over the government. In most cases, there was no government, and we restored it with American money.
Okay.
And we kept pace with the GIs. Where I saw actual combat was the Salerno landing. We attempted to land at the beach at Salerno, and the German army, they were situated high up in in our background and high up. And you could see the water bubble up as they saw us coming in. They'd zeroed in on the beach, and we'd stop going in and circle around, and it took a while to kill time, and on our second try, we were on the fire. This time we went in, and incidentally, we had just taken over the ground troops. They had we were on the fire, I'd say maybe a couple of weeks.
Okay. But I would just like to back up for a little bit. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I'm very hard of hearing. So
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was drafted.
Okay. Do you recall the date that you were drafted? Do you remember the date that you were drafted?
No, I remember it was November.
Okay. Can you tell me about your first days in the service? Can you tell me about some of your first days in the service? Can you tell me about some of your first days in the service?
I got drafted into the Air Force, and at that time they said, nobody can take this job away from you. You're going to be in the Air Force. They're very wrong, because they singled me out, and as it turned out, I ended up with an infantry regiment. And shipped out on a troop ship that took me to trying to think of the troop ship let us off at Casablanca.
Okay. Can you tell me about your boot camp?
About what?
About boot camp. Can you tell me about some of your training before going overseas?
The training? I had some basic training. While I was waiting to be assigned duty with an army unit that never materialized.
Okay. Do you remember where were you trained? What fort?
I was trained in Florida. In a brand new hotel right on the water. We were the first occupants. Without a mess hall.
Do you remember any of your instructors? Do you remember any of your instructors?
No.
After boot camp, where did you go?
That's when I was notified that I was going overseas. I was kind of unique in that I was went from the Air Force and, but I was told to go shipboard, and it was a luxury liner that we ended up with. I got a cot, and everybody else that was in that group they had to carry barracks bag, and I had a Jeep all to myself with a driver to take me to a building where everybody got washed. And that was
How come you had your own Jeep?
Pardon?
Why did you have your own Jeep?
I don't know. I guess they had me pegged for this particular job, and I stayed in North Africa for a few weeks, waiting for our troops to leave North Africa and go to Salerno. So we were killing time.
What was your duty?
See, our unit job, our unit's job was to take over in place of the Italian jobs and the because I guess because I was bilingual, I was picked. If you can picture an entire city where we were in charge to get them back on their feet. And that was our job as the troops advanced. And in the first place, I was with some big wheel out of New York, and we took over that area where the troops landed. No, I think he was a general, and I was his assistant. And by assistant, it meant that I was in charge because nobody spoke Italian, and I did all the work, including hiring over 30 people.
What were some of your impressions of Italy? What were some of your impressions of Italy?
I didn't see too much of the fighters, because after the first couple of weeks where we were under fire, it's hard for me to remember.
That's okay. So after Salerno, where did you go?
After Salerno, we went to Naples.
Okay. What did you do in Naples?
The officer that was given that territory to govern asked for me to go with him as the troops advanced. I was to go along and do all the work. The sequence bothered me because when I was in Salerno, they gave me there was a lieutenant in charge of the truck. He had a loaded American dollar truck. The money was in wooden crates, and the lieutenant was in charge of where to go to stay out of trouble, because they were afraid a counterattack would have taken. Lives didn't mean much, that they would have taken the money. So the lieutenant drove. I sat next to him, and we had a GI in the back of the truck. We went to a small town, but to get there, it was a risky trip, because the Germans every night would come out and try to pick up whatever personnel they could. But we didn't have any trouble. But I caught up with the money again. And in the interim, we were under fire. That's the only time I got to use my rifle.
Oh, okay. Is that when you got your Bronze Star?
I was the GI with all the personnel that as we advanced. One of the waiters, one of the waiters, they were all captains and lieutenant colonels.
Were there any casualties during
And I was the one that was in charge of the occupation area. He was a New York banker, and I was assigned to him. Uh, uh, he, uh, the timeline is a little shaky, but he didn't have enough push because the first move that took me away from Naples, and that's when I was going Naples, Siena, Florence. I kept going and opening up the town financially. And it was there was a little danger at certain times, but most of the time was clerical.
Okay. Was there any casualties from your unit?
Right.
Were there any casualties in your unit?
Yeah. If you had the book, it would show you the we were going to take an office. In fact, it was a whole room. Yeah, yeah, it's, well, if we had the book, you see the general in charge that was in charge of the area that was just taken over.
That's okay. She's scanning it in. We'll see it. We'll see it later.
Yeah.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
It what?
Did you write to your family while you were serving?
Did I write?
To your family.
I did most of the hiring.
Did you stay in contact with your family while you were over there?
I had very little time to do anything.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
I got the Bronze Star.
Can you tell me about how you got the Bronze Star?
And there were different places where I would normally. I just got one Bronze Star.
Okay. How was the food while you were over there?
So I had an interesting happening on the cruise from the United States to North Africa. There were, I'd say, about 3,000 soldiers, and some of them had a place to sleep, and some of them slept on the deck,
Oh, wow.
on one of the decks. And as luck would have it, out of 3,000 people, I run into a first cousin. And I got him a place to stay. I had a bunk bed, and I didn't get him a bed, but I got him a cot.
That's good.
I was kind of alone. Because I didn't have any supervision.
Okay.
Because all along once they had me in Africa, from there on in, I had special treatment. For example, getting off the boat, there was a jeep and a driver, and he took me to get showered.
Well, that's very nice.
And I was in North Africa. That's where I lost it. I don't remember how long it took me. Anyway, they had this is in North Africa. They had that area was governed by the French, and the interpreter spoke French and Italian, and they had me drive the interpreter and two other, I don't know what they were, soldiers. I drove them in North Africa to a boat where I interpreted, because he spoke French.
Right.
So I got him to where he could pick up and leave what was then French territory, even though it was Africa. He was the one that he was like the broker for the French.
Okay.
And from that area we marched. And the fighting was just over, and we were in a barracks in a small town, Tizi-Ouzou, and we were marched, and we were in a holding pattern because we were gonna work in Salerno, but we were killing time before we got into the I forgot what those smaller boats. There was only just a few of us on it, and loaded with money.
Oh, wow.
And that's when our troops took over, the Germans just retreated. They were on top of the hill. And we were undermanned. We had, after we landed, we had the British that were already there. The Turks were more active than any of them. At night was when they would, God, I don't know, I guess they were in a holding pattern, and we were just a short distance in. That's the only time I used my rifle, that I actually fired it, because the officer in charge would direct, this is at night, would direct where the firing.
Okay. Did you ever feel stressed?
Trapped?
Stress.
Stress? Going into Salerno was a stress.
Did you do anything to handle the stress?
Did what?
Did you do anything special to handle the stress?
To handle the stress? No. No, the first couple of weeks, that's when the British and the Turks were with us. By that time, we had gone in off the beach.
Okay. Did you ever see any USO shows?
Did what?
Did you see any USO?
USO
shows?
Well, we changed over from we ended up and I think it was Naples. In Naples, we were under fire every night.
What did you do for entertainment?
Yeah. And there wasn't much entertainment.
Can you tell me about being under fire in Naples? Can you explain that more?
Do what?
You said you were under fire a lot in Naples. Can you tell me about that?
Well, when we were taking over a building in Naples, I think it was Naples. That's when I I had just gone into Naples with a Jeep. And
So you went into Naples with a Jeep. You went into Naples with a Jeep, and is that when you came under fire?
I remember they dropped me off on the way to Naples. They dropped me off at a holding where there were all Jeeps, and they gave me a Jeep. And when I got to Naples, I was assigned a building, and I was supposedly opening up an office there. Well, going up the steps, carrying paperwork. There was a space in between two buildings. As I'm going up the steps, I was just entering a building, and the building next door blew up.
Oh, wow.
So I was knocked about I'd say 15, 20 feet against the wall. The book that I
Has it?
showed two, I think they're two soldiers. I'm not sure. Because naturally I ran down and I helped one of them sit down on the cement, and you can picture a room full of soot. A truck pulled up, an army truck, and putting bodies into the truck, and I helped with just that because it was out of my jurisdiction.
Oh, wow.
We never used that area.
So you had to find a different building then?
I don't remember what we did. I think that's when I stood guard.
What was that like, standing guard? What was it like standing guard?
In the dark?
What was it like standing guard?
I can't.
What was it like standing guard? You said you were standing guard at that time.
I was in the dark.
You were standing guard? You were guarding?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
But I remember the lieutenant and me and this other GI with all the money. The inner part, I had to worry about the enemy soldiers to protect the money. We went along the shore and And that's where we dropped off the money the first time. I mean, in that area.
Okay.
It's so much to remember.
Right. Did you keep a journal?
Did I keep a journal? No.
Okay. Did you pull any pranks on any of the other service members?
Did I what?
Did anybody pull any pranks on each other?
I'm sorry, but
Did anybody joke around or pull any pranks on each other?
I can't understand. I don't know what you're saying.
Do you remember anything humorous from your time there?
Humorous? No, everything was pretty. Later on, though,
Okay. Can you tell me about being discharged? Do you remember the day that you were discharged?
I know it was November
What
45.
What was going through your mind at that time?
The discharge?
Yeah, what were you thinking when you were being discharged?
Well, it was again, I was all by myself, and yeah, I came in with one of those small boats. It wasn't very pleasant.
Okay. What was your homecoming like?
I I had gotten married while I was still in the States, and
So it was good to see your family again.
I had her as a dependent, and she was spending the money that I had her as a dependent when I was abroad. So.
Okay.
When I got home, instead of having a nice nest egg,
You had to start fresh.
I got screwed, yeah.
Did you go to school on the GI Bill?
No, that's the biggest mistake of my life. I made up with my wife, and
Okay. What did you do as a career after the military? What was your career afterwards?
yeah, I blew it because if you read it, the people I was associated with were all I'd say yeah, maybe there might have been another lieutenant, but most of them were ranking officials that had joined the army and as we progressed militarily, they each one was given that area
Okay.
to work, and as we kept going up, they they they, they were assigned a territory. And incidentally, I was drafted with two of my brothers. They're both gone.
Okay. Where did you work after getting out of the army? What did you do for a job?
My father was a barber, and across the street from the railroad station was the biggest hotel in the New Haven area. And I went to work as a room clerk, and I was chief clerk
Okay.
in a hotel.
How did your military experience influence your thinking?
Uh, I was lucky that I had what they were looking for.
Okay. Did you join any VFWs? Did you join any veterans organizations?
Did talk with what?
Did you join any veterans organizations like a VFW?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did in Woodbridge, and they closed.
Did you?
They transferred my membership, but I never. I don't know. I never participated in any of their affairs.
Okay. Did you attend any reunions? Did you make any close friendships in the service?
Did I what?
Make any close friendships in the service?
Yeah, I would say so. I I joined they have a fitness room, and I used to go 3 times a week and work out. And really work out. Just a few weeks ago, they notified me that I was too old.
No.
And they stopped me from
going?
From going back.
Oh. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to add?
Well, we
Well, I would like to.
I can't think of a. They it was a pretty hectic life from Africa on. Busy.
Yeah.
I mean, really busy. The troops would let they would advance and we take over. And I made some very good friends, as I mentioned before. That if if I had married and gone with the occupation, I could have gone to Alaska.
Oh, wow.
That was one of the offers.
That's very interesting.
All the people that I worked with were big wheels.
Yeah. Just, well, I would like to thank you for your service and for your time today.
Yeah, I wish my memory was a lot better than, because,
No, you did a great job.
yeah,